Walmart, the world's largest retailer, could be facing the largest lawsuit ever brought against a private employer. Lawyers suing Walmart will file their motion today, and if a judge agrees, the company could be facing a class action lawsuit for discrimination against 1.6 million current and former female employees.
I had no idea about the lawsuit, and there were people in my store that had no idea about it also.
Members of management that are in the upper echelons of Walmart management talk about how women at Walmart are useless.
I had done receiving manager, I was operation manager, I was merchandise manager, so it's like I kind of did it all.
I cleaned the bathroom every single day. Ken would come to me and he'd say to me, "Oh, it's your turn again." And I look at him, I said, "Oh, it was my turn yesterday." Well, and he'd laugh and we'd joke about it and we'd go back and forth, and I'd say, "I know, I'm the only female that's working out here, so hence I have to clean the bathroom."
Nobody said, "Well, why a woman been in this company all of these years?" You look at the evaluation, every general manager stated she should be a GM within a year, within 6 months. Every evaluation. What's wrong with this picture?
The company hides the fact that these practices are very systemic. They're systemic, meaning that they come out of the home office.
Bottom line, if you were a female, you just weren't worth it. You just were not, you weren't worth the time, you weren't worth the money, you weren't worth the effort, nothing.
A blind man. My grandmother was blind. She could see better than what you guys are seeing because you put the blinders on. You didn't want to see.
When I called to file a petition or to file a claim against them, just to say that they discriminated against me because I was a woman.
I'm Betty. I'm a Walmart associate. I love working at Walmart. I love that they pay me less than men because that means I can't afford to eat as much and I get to keep my figure.
Jim got promoted to management over me, but that's okay because he's a cutie. You go get him, honey.
When I applied for the assistant manager training program, I didn't get any response back at all.
I went through everything I had done for my store manager, and I done it like you would do a checklist. Said, "You told me to do this, I did it. You told me to do this, I did it." He agreed on with a nod, and I said, "So now I want what you promised me." He just bluntly told me, "There's no place for people like you in management." And I said, "Well, what do you mean people like me?" And I said to him, I said that I'm a woman or that I'm black. He said, "Well, 2 out of 2 ain't bad."
I was called milk boy, nigger, at this particular store. There was an incident where this one guy's bicycle, they hung it up in the ceiling and put a rope around it. Literally lynched this guy's bicycle. This is what they said. But I complained because it was, to me, it was offensive and it was unacceptable. What happened after that? Nothing.
I don't know if I was more devastated than humiliated. But in my mind, the way I love people, I just couldn't see another person, maybe they're not strong as I am, to be able to take that.
This woman walked through the hallway and said, "Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a nigger by the toe." I reported this incident. Nothing happened. If you complain about discrimination, they'll just let more people out on you to see if they can really work you out of there or whatever. And that's basically what happened to me. I just got tired.
I started going backwards in my mind of all the different stuff, and it started clicking and clicking, and the more I thought, the worse I felt, because I felt to myself, "You're an idiot. How could you have not known?" I was devastated. The time that I spent on those roads, I could have been at home with my husband. But I wasn't, because I was doing my end of what Walmart promised me. If you do this, we will do this. And it was not worth my husband's life.
And the worst part about it is that nobody will ever know how big this is what happens to people, and there's got to be more people like me out there, but they're too afraid to say anything.
I love my job. It's challenging, but it's really satisfying.
We truly are living the American dream. It's out there, and it's at Walmart.
Great citizenship also means that we're going to support the communities that we're in through our charities and the organizations that exist there.
You know, time I was born, counting Hoover, I have lived under about 36% of the presidents of the United States. You think about that. Hoover and Roosevelt, Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, Senior Bush, and Junior Bush. So there's 13 presidents out of 43 that I've lived under. We came here in 1959 and started the IGA store, which is Independent Grocers. We had approximately 150 employees, and on these 150 employees, the full-time employees had, and that was a great number of them, had full coverage on insurance, health insurance. We also had a 401k pension plan that they really appreciated.
You know, in small family-owned businesses, you do become attached to your employees, and they're very important to you.
We always tried to have a Christmas party or a Christmas dinner where all the employees came and we'd close the stores.
Yeah, and every day after school I'd get off the bus and run up to the store, because we lived a couple of blocks up from it.
The baler that we use here is a baler that was left over from when we closed down the stores in the late 90s.
I don't believe it's fair the way that Walmart can come in with the funding that they get to put their sewers, infrastructure, road, parking signals, ingress, egress, etc. in compared to what the independent retailer gets. No, I don't believe it's fair.
Well, certainly it's not fair, and I think he at one time did go talk to them in Cameron and say, if we're going to run a business here, can you help us? Well, no, they couldn't do that.
I don't think it's fair to help them to build roads for their business, and at the same time, the store open puts others out of business. The competition that we're up against really hasn't caused the problem as much as our competition being helped by our government from one level to the other. They get all the breaks.
Walmart's coming in and running us out. We know you helped them, or you gave them tax abatements. Will you give us a tax abatement? And no, they couldn't do that. So the county nor the city would do that. And of course, everybody knew it was unfair, but what can you do about it? Maybe, or there's nothing you can do about it.
On sewer, water, any of that stuff, as far as I know, we never received one dime from the city, county, or any place like that.
If you tell them that you don't want them in your city limits, there's been nothing to stop them from buying 5 acres out here outside the city limits, plopping their building down, hooking up to rural water, and having all the negative effects on the city and none of the positive effects.
It was a supercenter in Cameron. It took about 40% of our business in Cameron, and about a third of our business here in Hamilton. In Brookfield, it took over 50% of our business just overnight.
It's hard to make those payments with a wholesaler having problems themselves. So everything just kind of culminated in everybody having problems. To pay the employees, well, you used cash from the inventory.